It is mailbag time here on the Broncos Breakdown. Matthew Peterson answering the questions you guys asked over on our community tab here at the channel. So if you ever want to be on a future show, really simple stuff. Subscribe and ask your question over there. Shout out to the U.S. Postal Service. I write letters all the time, keeping them employed. All right, Michael Polt has our first question on the show. Michael asking, Edge Reed, I think you're referring to Malik Reed, gets traded before the deadline or after. So you can only get traded before a trade deadline. You can't get traded after a trade deadline. But let's break down, I think, what you're trying to get at here, Michael, which is whether or not Malik Reed will be traded just at all. Now, in his career, we're talking about a UDFA that led the team in sacks 2 seasons ago. Sort of that lost 2020 season. I think it's one crazy thing that Kendall Hinton was a starting quarterback that year. It's another crazy thing that Malik Reed led the team in sacks. But when I look at this depth chart right now, I'm looking at the linebacker room, and let's say Peyton takes 9 linebackers. The top 4 guys are locks. Along with Nick Bonito, now I'm at 5. I would say Jonathan Cooper and Baron Browning are locks, so 6 and 7, along with Jonas Griffith, 8. That 9 spot. Will it go to another outside linebacker like Malik Reed, or will it be a Barrington Wade or Justin Stranad? I think Malik Reed is going to find a way to make this roster, and he will be a prime midseason trade candidate if Bradley Chubb and Randy Gregory are healthy and there's just not enough reps to make it make sense to have Malik Reed on this roster. Now, I know that midseason trades tend to come from teams that are selling and not winning. But remember, the Broncos traded for Kenny Young last year from the Rams, who were not sellers, right? That's a future Super Bowl winning team. So I could see Malik Reed being a trade piece midseason to another team that needs help at edge. The Broncos are loaded between Chubb, Gregory, and Bonito. They don't need Reed's help. Plus, Denver only has 5 picks next year in the draft. So they might try to recoup some of those assets by trading Reed midseason. But I want you guys to be the GM here. Would you trade Malik Reed? Y for yes or N for no? I'm definitely open to the idea, but depth is awesome right now, especially when you know Randy Gregory and Bradley Chubb have not had a proven track record of staying healthy for a full season. So you don't want to trade Reed and then the next week, now you're out Chubb or Gregory, and you sure wish you had Reed still on the roster. Next question comes in from a longtime viewer here at the channel, Elon Volk, saying PFF ranked the Broncos as the 14th most talented NFL team. In my opinion, they have at least a top 8 talented roster. Where would you rank the Broncos' complete roster talent-wise? Elon, if you don't remember, we actually broke down that blasphemy rankings from a collaboration of ESPN and Pro Football Focus. This is the thumbnail for that video, so you guys can go over there and watch it and take my reaction. But let's go back and revisit ESPN's roster rankings, where they collabed with PFF and had the Bills, the Bucks, and the Chargers top 3, Rams 4, Packers 5, Browns 6, Eagles 7, Bengals 8, Chiefs 9, Miami 10, and now we get closer to the Denver Broncos. Behind the Saints at 11, head scratcher. Ravens at 12, I can make peace with that. The Niners at 13, interesting because you don't know what you have in Trey Lance, but the rest of that roster is still very talented. Broncos 14, Colts 15. Personally, I think that's an embarrassing list for ESPN and Pro Football Focus. I mean, just do the eye test. What team would you rather have? The Broncos or the Eagles? No shame against Philly. Playoff team last year. You have a lot of hope that Jalen Hurts with some new weapons like A.J. Brown can take this crew to the next level. They made some good moves in free agency, but still, I take the Broncos 9 times out of 10. I've got the same top 2 teams as ESPN. Bills 1, Bucks 2. I've got Cleveland at 3. Great defense. Deshaun Watson's a big question mark this season, but it doesn't change the fact that this is a roster, not a season projection. Chargers 4, Chiefs 5. I think the Rams will be a bit of a Super Bowl hangover candidate this year, so I have them fallen to 6. Cincinnati comes in at number 7. Green Bay at 8. I mean, outside of Rodgers, that wide receiver room is not very proven. I've got the Broncos at 9. So, Elon, you had them top 8. I've got them right there, but on the outside looking in at 9, and Baltimore at number 10. So, those are my top 10 roster rankings. It's tough because we don't know exactly who's going to be playing week 1. I mean, for example, Deshaun Watson, the Browns, Jacoby Brissett dramatically changes that for instance. But, hey, if you are new to the channel and you want a shout out, because we do that all the time here on the show, subscribe, comment DB4L, right? Denver Bronco for life, and boom, you're going to get a shout out on a future show. Plus, if you're just looking for free daily Broncos YouTube content, this is the spot to be. Subscribe today. Next question comes in from Jace Casper. Do you think the Broncos will make the playoffs? Okay, Jace, you have a very similar question. Appreciate you asking. As Danielle Persinger, who asked, if the Broncos make the playoffs, how far do you expect them to go? So let's kind of combine these two questions right here. I've got a playoff prediction. Now, before I show it, it is a little bit rough, and I'm not a huge fan of doing this stuff before the season really starts, because so much can change with injuries, and I know that's a cop-out and a soft answer, but it is true. But if I had to give a playoff prediction, here's what I would go with. The Bills winning the AFC 13-4, being the 1 seed. Browns win the AFC North at 12-5. I think the Broncos win the AFC West with an 11-6 record, having a tiebreaker over the Chiefs, because my scalding hot take this year is that they sweep Kansas City. The Colts win the AFC South over the Titans at 10-7. Matt Ryan hitting the fountain of youth a little bit over there. The Ravens bounce back nicely after an injury-riddled season a year ago to claim the 6th seed of the wild card. And it's the Chargers who sneak in at 10-7. Couple teams not on there. The Cincinnati Bengals, the reigning AFC champs, not on that list. Or say the Miami Dolphins. Now, to answer Daniel's question about how far they go, if it's like this, that would have them on a collision course with who? The Ravens. I'd say beat Baltimore at home, and then you're with gravy there. If you win a playoff game in year 1 for a new head coach, you're pretty happy no matter what the outcome is, but I don't think this is a Super Bowl bound team in the first season under Russell Wilson. But let me ask this question to you guys. Predict it. Will the Broncos make the playoffs? Y for yes or N for no? Let me know what you guys are thinking down in the comments section. Jacob Youngblood with the next question. When will the Broncos bring back their throwback uniforms? Good question, Jacob. I don't have a good answer for you, unfortunately. I will like to pivot this conversation if you'll let me and say, can we get these uniforms? New ownership might want to come in and have a bit of a new look, a bit of a facelift right now. Those are pretty clean. I mean, producer Jeff right now stepping in for Marshall. Do you like them, Jeff? Yeah, love them. So those would be pretty dope. I would take those uniforms over the current ones in a heartbeat. But what do you guys think? Do you want new uniforms? Like I said, with the new ownership coming into town, they might want to change things up, go more than just say a new stadium, something like that. But do you want new uniforms? K for keep or C for change? Eddie Martinez has the next question on the show. What are some Broncos games that you would not want to miss this upcoming season? My top 5 games for this season, Eddie, I'll go week 1 at Seattle. It's the revenge game. Drew Lock against his old team. No, that's definitely going to be one of the most watched games of the entire season. Week 5 against the Colts. I think Indianapolis will be a sneaky good team this year. I think a lot of people are kind of counting them out because Carson Wentz lost in Jacksonville in Week 18 last year to miss the playoffs. But I think this is going to be a tough out, so I'll go with Colts Thursday Night Football at home. Week 13 at Baltimore, it'll be a bit of a gauntlet, right? You go all the way to Baltimore, then you return for Sunday Night Football against the Chiefs. Those are going to be 2 tough games right there, but 2 of the more intriguing games without a doubt. And then what about Week 16 at LA, Christmas Day against the defending Super Bowl champs? Would have been a bit more fun if Von Miller stuck around in LA, but still, Christmas Day, anytime you play on a big holiday, everyone's looking at you, everyone's watching. That's a fun game. Question coming in from Binks Nagal. Hope I pronounced that right. Always see you in the comment section. What does Russell Wilson have to prove in 2022? Nothing. You know what I mean? I mean, it's Russell Wilson. We all know what his resume is. We all are very in on him being a top quarterback in the NFL. So I don't really think he has to come in and prove it much. Now, last year was the first time he missed a snap of football. So I think there'll be some questions about not how he'll rebound, because he returned last year for the Seahawks, but how he'll adjust to a new team, right? Will he hit the ground running, or will there be some growing pains early on? That's maybe what I'll be looking for. There are some people out there, I'm not going to name names, that are doubting Russell Wilson right now because he's spending some time in the offseason traveling around Europe. I mean, he was in Monaco for the Grand Prix. He went to an Ed Sheeran concert in London with head coach Hackett. And they're like, hey, if Russ stumbles out of the gates, some people might be pointing to his offseason activities. Cry me a frickin' river. I mean, the guy is hosting off-season workouts with his teammates in California. He went to every single OTA and minicamp practice. I don't believe an ounce of that. Just rhetoric BS right there. But that's going to do it for us on today's mailbag. I appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. Hope you all had a good weekend. And we'll see you later here with more Broncos news and rumors.